The North Pacific Current is located just north of the subtropical gyre and flows in an easterly direction. Also known as the West Wind Drift or Subarctic Current, the North Pacific Current also includes the westward flow of the southern boundary of the North Pacific subpolar gyre. The North Equilateral Current borders the North Pacific subtropical gyre on the south and flows in a westerly direction. The westward flow within the elongated tropical cyclonic circulation is also included in the North Equilateral Current. The California Current system comprises the eastern boundary of the North Pacific subtropical gyre and flows along the coast of California. Here, coastal upwelling drives the eastern boundary current and undercut that flows poleward. The Kuroshio Current is a narrow, strong westward boundary current of the subtropical circulation. This current influences the water column all the way to the bottom. The Kuroshio Current flows in a northerly direction and eventually flows further from the westward boundary, where it then takes an easterly direction into the North Pacific. This eastward flow current is then called the Kuroshio extension. Average sea surface temperatures along the North Pacific coast can range in the winter from 45 to 61 degrees Fahrenheit, also 7.2 to 16.1 degrees Celsius, and in the summer months 64 degrees Fahrenheit to 74 degrees Fahrenheit, also 17.8 to 23.3 degrees Celsius. These temperatures range drastically because of how enormous the North Pacific actually is. Apart from the narrow coastal zone of the eastern region and the broad continental seas of the western region, the Pacific is floored with oceanic material derived from the remains of marine plants and animals that once inhabited the waters lying above. The continental shelf of the eastern region, which runs parallel to it, is narrow, while the adjacent continental slopes are very steep. Significant oceanic trenches in this region are the Middle America Trench in the North Pacific and the Peru-Chile Trench in the South Pacific. The seaward boundary of the West Pacific region is marked by a broken line of oceanic trenches. Its structure is more complex than that of the eastern region. Numerous smaller islands represent the upper parts of mountain systems that rise abruptly from the deep ocean floor. The island clusters of the Western Pacific form the boundaries of several wide and deep continental seas of the region. The largest and most geologically stable of the structural provinces of the Earth's crust, the Central region, is characterized by the expansive area of low relief, lying at the general depth of about 15,000 feet, 4,600 meters below the surface. The North Pacific features mountainous shorelines in the Eastern Pacific along California as well as sandy beaches. The Pacific coastline south of Tokyo, Japan is characterized by long, narrow, gradually shallowing inlets produced by sedimentation. The Pacific War, sometimes called the Asia-Pacific War, is the theater of World War II that was fought in the Pacific and Asia. The Pacific Ocean Theater during World War II was a major theater of war between the Allies and the Empire of Japan. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor occurred in the Pacific Theater. Exploration and discovery in the Pacific in the 18th century were undertaken most actively by the British and the French. Among the most important 20th century expeditions to the Pacific were the American ship Carnegie, 1928-29, the Danish vessel Donna II, the Swedish ship Albatross, 47-48, and the Danish ship Galathea, 50-52. The North Pacific is mined for materials such as salt, sand, gravel, manganese, copper, nickel, iron, cobalt, and drilled for crude oil. Sea levels have rose due to the melting of continental ice sheets and the expansion of seawater as ocean temperature slowly rises. Changing climate circulation patterns affects the strength, duration, and paths of storms and precipitation in the Pacific Ocean. The temperature of the ocean surface has already increased approximately 1.1 degrees Fahrenheit since 1950. Tidal patterns in the North Pacific include many instances of daily and mixed tides. Tidal ranges within the Pacific are generally small. In Tahiti, tidal ranges range around 1 foot, Honolulu is 2 feet, Yokohama is 5 feet, Cape Horn is 6 feet, Gulf of California is 40 feet, and Australia is 6 to 33 feet. The weather patterns of the Pacific are seen in this photo. The Pacific Northwest is an active seismic area with 3 distinct types of earthquakes. The Pacific Plate is a massive tectonic plate lying underneath the Pacific Ocean and the largest oceanic plate of the planet. An active continental margin is found on the leading edge of the continent where subduction occurs. Active margins are commonly the sites of tectonic activity such as earthquakes, volcanoes, mountain building, and the formation of new igneous rock. The North Pacific is active.